A long-time world record was broken, a single speedrunner got first place in every category in Scarlet and Violet, and someone beating Pokémon Yellow as Game Freak intended? All that and more on The Rundown. Welcome to The Rundown, a new segment on this channel where we go over the latest and greatest achievements in speedrunning. I'm Akko, and let's get into it. Pokémon SoulSilver, considered by many to be the hardest mainline Pokémon game to speedrun, had its world record clinched by veteran runner Rubentis. The original top spot, set by Tucker Larat, was cut by a mere 15 seconds a little over a week ago after a 9-month-long stint. This is the default board, which means anyone who takes this absolutely Herculean challenge has to do it on the original hardware, the humble Nintendo DS. Rubentis was on a fair, if slightly below average pace up until the normally dreaded Whitney fight. And for many of us, when you hear Whitney, alarm bells go off for the dreaded Miltank. But for speedrunners, Whitney's Clefairy is also something you gotta look out for. Why? One word: metronome.
Okay, if Clefairy damages me, heal on Clefairy. If Clefairy doesn't damage me, heal on Miltank. Okay, now Mimic for me. No! Bruh!
But Rubentis luckily avoided a disastrous metronome pull and got super lucky by getting the roll to KO Miltank in 2 attacks, and fortunately didn't get hit with a tractor rollout. The second biggest contributor to the world record here is the Jasmine fight. Because Rubentis was able to perfectly manipulate Raikou to get maximum special attack, it guaranteed Magnemite would get O-code and avoid Jasmine using her healing items. Fortunately, he got the 2 in 16 chance to just do enough to Steelix to guarantee a 2-hit KO but not activate Citrus Berry. This fight is super RNG heavy and can lose runners up to 30 seconds if you get unlucky. Next reason Rubentis clutched world record is getting lucky with the Lieutenant Surge gym puzzle. And if you've played any game with Kanto, you know how dumb this quote-unquote puzzle is. Now imagine instead of getting slightly frustrated during a casual playthrough, you're 3 hours into world record pace and you have to try this.
I messed up movement, so I've got no clue. Last one. Oh my god, get there. Hello?
Rubentis got lucky again here too by getting the absolutely clutch first 2 guesses. And finally, the biggest highlight of this run: the red fight. First of all, this is one of the hardest fights in Pokemon speedrunning, period, since you have to take out Red's entire gang with a single Raikou. The odds are barely in your favor to win, but Rubentis was able to get a mind-bendingly fast split by dodging 3 blizzards throughout the battle, 2 from Red's Snorlax and 1 from his Blastoise. Not only do these misses save you from having to heal again, but the text that plays when the opponent misses goes by super fast, saving extra time. Huge congratulations to Rubentis for this amazing feat. Lots of eyes are on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as they currently have the most players attempting runs. And even more eyes are on SaiyanCinq, who in the last few weeks has clean swept with a world record in every major category on the leaderboard. For those who don't know, Scarlet and Violet has 4 main speedrunning categories. First is any percent, which is just how fast you can beat the entire game from getting up your desk to the end of Area 0. Then there's Path of Legends, which, oh hey, that's me, and I'm streaming my attempts on this channel, so go sub, plug, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the Path of Legends category is how fast you can beat all 5 Titans. Third is Starfall Street, which is how fast you can beat the same Pokemon in 5 different disguises. And last is Victory Road, which is how fast you can beat the champion, whose backstory is a complete mystery and definitely won't be revealed in a future DLC. SaiyanCinq is kind of a mysterious figure. When I first started looking into this runner, I looked up their profile and saw that despite getting first place in every category on these new games, their run history only dated back a couple months prior to the release of Gen 9. Before that, they had 2 runs submitted to Heart Gold SoulSilver for any percent Glitchless, a notably tough run like mentioned earlier, and Manipulous in the category extensions. I reached out to SaiyanCinq on Discord for a comment, and they told me the reason why their profile is so bare despite the killer runs. I had a disagreement/conflict with another speedrunner, so I decided to delete my account. I came back a few months later and did some runs again. Speedrunning beef aside, I also asked Saiyan how they were able to nab top times. to which they mentioned watching Ringo, a pretty infamous and very skilled Japanese runner. Saiyan also mentioned that they started with any percent and used the knowledge gained from that route and applied it to other categories. Lastly, I asked Saiyan what their future speedrunning plans are, to which they said they'd be taking a break to see if the upcoming February update fixes lag. Until then, Saiyan plans on running Let's Go Eevee. Another long-time world record was recently broken in Pokemon Yellow alt mains, where runner DJCSR took gold by beating the entire game with only Pikachu. If you didn't know, alt mains is a speedrunning category in Pokemon where you beat the game with a different Pokemon than what is typically used for the main game runs. In this case, rather than using Nidoran and evolving it into Nidoking, we're using Pikachu the entire way through. Let's go over the official rules for Pokemon Yellow. 1. The Pokemon must be caught before defeating the second gym leader if possible, otherwise with the minimum possible number of badges. So for example, if you wanted to do an oddish alt main, you have to catch it as soon as it's available, which would be here on Route 25. 2. The Pokemon must have the highest level of any Pokemon that you own at the end of the run. This one's pretty straightforward. 3. After obtaining your main and defeating Brock, your alt main must be used against every Pokemon that is subsequently defeated. This one's also pretty straightforward, and it basically means that you can have other Pokemon, but your alt main has to be the one doing damage. It's easy to dismiss these more obscure runs, but they're just as important in my opinion, especially these alt main runs. In fact, without alt main runs, we may have never discovered that Lillipup is faster to run than Tepig in Pokemon Black and White. The innovation that comes from these runs can help optimize the mainline categories too, but that's not really the case here, as DJC's run is almost an hour behind the main any percent glitchless. In this case, DJC dove fully in it for the meme, and you gotta respect that as well. From the outset, anyone attempting this run has to have a saint-like patience and unbreakable mental fortitude. That's because in order to beat Brock, you have to growl Geodude 4 times back to back, so that its tackle doesn't KO you. Then you have to tail whip 6 times in order to KO with quick attacks. Unfortunately for DJC, Pikachu crits twice, which in Gen 1 means it doesn't factor in any of the tail whip debuffs, so some time lost there. A similar strategy is employed for Onix, and after 9 quick attacks, 2 of them crits, Pikachu is able to fulfill its canonical duties and beat Brock. After I requested DJC for a comment, he mentioned the Giovanni gym fight being another tough part of the route. For this fight, Giovanni leads Dugtrio, and if you get critted, you die and have the soft reset for the fight, which happened here twice, losing 2 minutes. The strat here is actually pretty creative. You use Reflect turn 1 to survive a single hit, use X accuracy and X speed, all while avoiding getting critted, which remember, in Gen 1, crits are more likely the faster you are, and Dugtrio was one of the fastest in the game. If you pull that off, you use Pikachu's Mimic in order to copy Dugtrio's Fissure, and you use that move to defeat the rest of Giovanni's team. Later, during the Elite Four, DJC again has to face another Onix in the form of Bruno, but at that point Pikachu has Ice Punch, making the fight pretty trivial. The champion fight is also where DJC saw a huge time gain, and the strategy here is pretty interesting too. Since Blue leads with Sand Slash, Pikachu has to spam Seismic Toss while constantly feigning to Earthquake. DJ sends out the gifted starters as fodder while they revive Pikachu, and after enough attacks, takes out Sand Slash. Blue's Alakazam can be a problem since it spams Kinesis, which lowers accuracy, but fortunately DJC only sees a single miss. Executor gets taken out by the previously mentioned Mimic strategy, where Pikachu uses Mimic to copy Hypnosis, and eventually feint Executor with Body Slam. The rest of Blue's team gets one-shotted by X-Attack boosted Body Slams and Thunderbolt. Huge congrats to DJC for taking down the 3-year world record by an impressive 3 minutes. And this episode's Mad Lad Award goes to Ketchup Kleenex, who submitted Pokemon Silver's first Catch-em-all Glitchless speedrun, a run that took 23 hours, 28 minutes, and 43 seconds. Just to get an idea of how grueling the speedrun is, it took this runner 15 minutes just to catch 1 Ditto. Other notable parts of the speedrun is having to catch 2 Chanseys, because the only way to get Aerodactyl in this game is to trade a Chansey over. So you need 1 Chansey to trade, and 1 to evolve into Blissey. Chansey's encounter rate, by the way, 1%. This Chansey split alone takes over 40 minutes. Also, you use Ditto to breed and get a bunch of the baby Pokemon, which is a whole section of the run that seems super hard. But probably the most insane part is that in speedrunning, almost everything is meticulously planned. And the fact that Ketchup Kleenex's timer says that they've attempted this run 5 times is reason enough to earn the Mad Lad Award for this episode. That's it for this edition of The Rundown. I'm Akko, and gamers, play nerdy but stay flirty.